Lakers. Brooklyn at plus 333, barely behind the Lakers at plus 240. Don't tell our guy Chris Broussard. His Clippers tied for third. Too late, Chris Broussard heard. And he's joining us now to break it all down, but we won't go there. All right, Broussard, let's just stick to the matter at hand, the blockbuster trade. Is this trade enough to make the Nets your championship team?
Heavens no. No, look. I'm fine with them being the favorite in the East. If you want to make them the favorite in the East, okay. But part of that is there's no juggernaut in the East. Milwaukee, we know their playoff issues. Boston's young, and Kemba Walker's got knee issues. Philadelphia's got a point guard that won't shoot, and Miami's just not that talented. So I can give them, make them probably the favorite in the East. But for the entire league, I am sticking with the Los Angeles Lakers. And I say that without any hesitation whatsoever. Let me say this. You've got to give Brooklyn a puncher's chance. With that much firepower and talent, you'd be foolish not to at least give them a puncher's chance. But this team is the greatest chemistry experiment in my 26 years of covering the NBA. And that is because of style of play and personalities and ego. Number one, you got two ball-dominant guards that dominate the dribble and both want to be the man. I don't know how that's going to work. James Harden did not show a willingness to share or defer to Chris Paul, to Russell Westbrook, to Dwight Howard. Is he going to do that now? Can he do that after all these years of being the man?
Wow.
And this is not like plugging in Kevin Durant with Steph and Clay, who both move off the ball and can catch and shoot. Kyrie and Harden need that dribble to get their rhythm. So this is going to be an interesting experiment stylistically. And then personality-wise, Kyrie clearly sees himself as the leader on the team, and you can see that on the floor. It's going to be hard for him to get these guys to buy in now, but he sees himself that way. James Harden hasn't been not the man or the leader on the team for the last 8 or 9 years. So this doesn't answer the Nets' biggest question, which is Kyrie's mentality. So as much talent as they have, and it is great talent, there's no denying it, questions abound so much that there's no way I can put them ahead of the Lakers, who right now look like they are head and shoulders above the rest of the league.
Well, I'll go a step further, and I'm going to give the Nets the benefit of the doubt. Broussard, I'm going to, let's just take for as a given, Kyrie is going to come back rejuvenated and refreshed and be the offensive player he was before he went on this sabbatical. Let's also take for a given that they mesh and get along great. It's the NBA's version of the three amigos. They just can't. Every time we see them, they're all laughing together. They love each other, sharing the basketball. And the Nets get to where they should already be, which is the #1 offense in basketball. Let's take all of that as a given. They're still not good enough to get out of the East. And that's because there are two sides to playoff basketball. And right now, they will be starting a lineup with one above average defender. Durant's actually a very good defender. Kyrie, objectively bad defender. James Harden, if you get him out on the perimeter, objectively bad defender. DeAndre Jordan is fossilized. He got a DNP coach's decision the other night when Nikola Jokic was killing him. And Joe Harris is an extraordinary shooter, but he ain't playing no defense. You are going to have to go through in the first round, Miami or Boston, in round 2, Philly, and in round 3, Milwaukee, some order, form, or fashion. It ain't happening. Not with that defense. Their bet is they can be the worst defensive team to ever win a championship. And the depth is a bit of a concern in this regard. Do you know who their backup center is? It's Jeff Green. Do you know who their backup power forward is? It's Jeff Green's identical twin brother, also named Jeff Green. Like there's a lot riding on Durant and more questionably DeAndre Jordan. And so, listen, I get why they did it, because they were drawing dead to win a title before, but I don't think this changes the math for them, Brandon. I still don't think they come out of the East.
Brendan needs a full
First
adult
off,
jersey.
Nick,
It's his son's jersey.
You need a grown-up jersey.
Nick, this is
hold it
this
up.
is not the NFL.
Hold up.
Championships, you don't win championships by playing defense in the NBA. NFL, Wilds, you have a point. The Rams do have a fighter's chance, a puncher's chance, right? Because they have a great defense. In the NBA,
there we go.
Not so much. And then also, Chris, I just don't understand why you don't listen to me. We go back to when I first joined this show, and I was thrust in this conversation around the NBA. The NBA, what was happening? They just restarted their season. They entered in the bubble. And what did we see in the bubble? And what was I talking about in the bubble every other day? I was talking about James Harden, how he was evolving. Two things surrounding James Harden: ball dominant, and he didn't want to play defense. He did both in the bubble. He started playing defense. We were talking about it on every single show. Everybody, every network. And then he also was distributing the ball. He was playing off the ball. So this whole idea that James Harden isn't willing to evolve, it's a bad idea. And then the other thing, you know who James Harden reminds me of? And I'm not trying to compare them, because one is the greatest player on the planet and potentially can go down as the greatest player ever. He's not there yet, Nick, and that's LeBron James. And the reason why he reminds me of LeBron James is because LeBron James had to go down to Miami, team up with D-Wade to get that monkey off of his back, to get over the hump, and then he was able to go on and be the guy. That's James Harden. James Harden's been the best player in the NBA in the regular season for the last, 5-6 years. But then he gets into the postseason and he implodes. We're talking about 12 turnovers in a game, all-time high. Yeah. We're talking about a guy that goes from shooting 40-something% to not being able to hit the back of the backboard. And now, who do you have on the other side? You have KD. You don't have that pressure anymore. You know going in, if I just drop 20 or even 17 sometimes, now I know KD can go for 35, 40, and we'll be okay. So this whole thought that this is not going to work is ridiculous, Wild.
So if he's willing to be the Ray Allen type character, I think it works. And the question for you, Broussard, is who's willing to be the guy who raises their hand and says, you know what, I'll sacrifice my personal stats. Who wants to be Chris Bosh, who Toronto Chris Bosh was doing 24-11, and Miami Chris Bosh was 19-9. And Seattle Ray Allen was 26 points a game, and Boston Ray Allen was 17. And Minnesota Kevin Love, big star of the whole North. 26 points and 12 rebounds. Up, come here, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Yep. And by the way, he's still there. So I think it has to be Harden. I don't know if Harden can, I don't know if he actually wants to do that. I don't know if you're an MVP and a scoring champion. You know what? You're right, Steve Nash.
You're not listening to me.
16 points a game is good for me. I don't think he can do that. Do you?
Well, look, Wilds, nobody's willing to become Chris Bosh or Kevin Love. That's just not happening. Bosh was 16-6 by the time it ended in Miami the last 2 years. Yep. Nobody's willing to do that. But I'll give you this. Harden is the most capable of changing. Harden could be a full-time point guard, run the offense, get the other guys involved. He's a tremendous passer, and he still would get you about 23 points a night. But is he willing to do even that? If he's willing to do that, and then you got the question of would Kyrie be willing to play off the ball most of the time? So I think Durant's personality is more like the one that would back up, but you can't have him back up because he's your best player. So, like I said, questions abound. And, Brandon, why I don't listen to you, because you just said defense don't win in the NBA. I mean, come on. Nick went overboard and saying they can't win the East. But you went overboard and saying you don't even have to play defense. Just outscore everybody. Come on. You got to play some defense.
The last 10 years, that's exactly what it's been.
In Brandon's defense, the actual head coach and the assistant head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, they have all those rings from those offense-only teams in Phoenix. Wait, they never even made the finals because they couldn't guard anybody. But just, hey, listen, real quick, because, Broussard, I know you wanted to get this. We didn't have time. The Great Eastern Migration continues. That king goes out west, and all of a sudden, it looks a hell of a lot more attractive to go play on the East Coast. For 15 years, no superstar wanted to go to the East. They were like, no, it's LeBron's conference. Now he's out west. They're like, oh yeah, let me go see the Eastern Seaboard a little bit.
Smart.
See how that works out. Maybe I can make a final.
Kawhi Leonard just join the Clippers?
Smart.
Didn't Kawhi Leonard
We
just join
have
the
only,
Clippers?
we've only touched on this story. So much more to come. We're going to talk some Rams-Packers on the other side. Can the best quarterback in the league, Aaron Rodgers, outplay the best defense in the league led by Aaron Donald? It's Aaron and Aaron. Nick